What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I will take you guys through my team selection for the upcoming Game Week 21. Is it a double game week? Is it not? Unfortunately, I think the time has come for us to declare that it won't be a double game week, only a single game week on paper. But nevertheless, some tough games coming up, so it might not even be a single game week, as most of my options are actually facing each other. Now Game Week 20 is not even finished yet. I'm recording this before the Crystal Palace vs United game, and then obviously the Spurs vs Man City game coming up tomorrow, where we do have triple captain Haaland. But as of now, let me know how your team is going when you are watching this video. Probably going to release it on Thursday, so how do your United assets do, and what are your expectations for that Spurs vs Man City game? Now if you guys are new to the team selections or simply want a reminder, going to go over how the Game Week 20 squad is currently getting on, then take a look at my Game Week 21 team selection and the transfer plan. So that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of Game Week 20, as I mentioned in the introduction, the games are still happening tonight and tomorrow. Spurs face Man City tomorrow, and then we have the United vs Crystal Palace game. But I'll update you guys that all my United attackers and defenders are starting. We have Anthony, Shaw, and Rashford of course, so hopefully they get us a few points against Crystal Palace. Now if you guys navigate to the bottom right hand side, 51 points currently before any of my double game week players actually start, which has seen a small red arrow to 340k. We do have one free transfer and 0.4 left in the bank, and I'll talk about how we're going to use that in the transfer plan later on. Starting off on our bench, and yet again we are benching Ben White for more FPL points, so an 8-point appearance here, clean sheet and some bonus points to boot, which was a little bit disappointing. In terms of the rest of the bench, we had Danny Ward, and if you guys do remember, I was kind of contemplating going for Danny Ward or Kepa. I'll bring Kepa on screen right now so you guys can see I went with the better decision and ended up with 10 points. Now I do think I was considerably lucky to get that Kepa clean sheet. Chelsea have been very bad defensively, but had faith in him over Danny Ward. If you guys don't recall, Kepa actually had the clean sheet, a few save points and 3 bonus points, so massive performance from him. Going into the rest of our backline, going to start off with Nathan Ake, an option that we brought in specifically for Game Week 20's double. Downgraded Cancelo to him as I had some expectation of Cancelo's benching. Now as of right now, Cancelo and Ake are kind of matching on points. Yes, Ake is slightly cheaper, but it would have changed my transfer plan, which I'll talk about later on. Now the big news about Nathan Ake, not really about him but about his colleagues, is that Ruben Diaz and John Stones have returned to training, so Nathan Ake's minutes are under heavy threat. So will he start against Spurs? Who kind of knows, but right now I do think he might be Man City's best defender. Talking about some of the best defenders, we're going to go over Luke Shaw. Has had a massive kind of resurgence, United obviously beating Man City in that derby, and he still has Crystal Palace tonight where he is starting at left back. So let's hope that he does get us a few points, because that Man City vs United game, obviously both clean sheets were wiped out, but he could even get some attacking returns tonight at left back. Then finally we do have Trippier, another clean sheet, a few bonus points as well. I mean, Trippier is just on fire, has hardly blanked this Premier League season, and even though apparently didn't really play well in Game Week 20, still got us those bonus points. But I guess the only downside to Trippier is that everyone does own him, and that's why kind of doubling up or tripling up on that Newcastle defense could be the strategy to go for. Now let's go into our big 5 midfield. Going to start off with Kevin De Bruyne. Now don't worry guys, there was some concerns about Kevin De Bruyne, but Pep said today that he's going to be fine for the Spurs fixture, and he missed training because of personal reasons. Now he racked up an assist in the loss to United, but let's hope that he does some more against Spurs. They're going to talk about Rashford first before talking about his colleague Anthony. What more needs to be said about Rashford that hasn't? Massive form at the current moment. If you guys did captain Rashford, I think that you must be in heaven, because 10 points in the harder fixture is just what you want in a double game week. So any kind of points against Crystal Palace are absolute bonus, and as I said, if you guys did captain him over Haaland, congratulations. Now I'm going to move on to Anthony, the kind of colleague of Rashford, was benched in the first game against Man City. Ten Hag opted for kind of a different formation, but at least Anthony's starting tonight against Crystal Palace. Now having kind of seen how United are setting up, they have a few other options. Jadon Sancho's back in training. Do regret kind of the Anthony move, as I don't think he's as nailed as kind of a Bruno Fernandes or Rashford. But it is what it is. Hopefully he gets us some attacking returns tonight, because he is a little bit of a punt. Then we have Mason Mount with only the 3-point appearance, managed to get a clean sheet point, which I guess is going to be good from Mason Mount, as he has been quite a disappointment this Premier League season. But I do think he's on the transfer out list, unfortunately, just seems to be not providing those attacking returns, and Chelsea at the moment aren't playing too well. Speaking about not playing too well, we got Martinelli, who's actually, his team's playing pretty well, but Martinelli has blanked in the last 2 games, and when Odegaard and Saka are racking up the FPL points, that's quite a disappointment. Now are my standards too high for Martinelli? I don't think so, because he has been getting us points in the prior game weeks. He just might be a little bit off form. But nevertheless, has a double game week coming up in Game Week 23, so he's a hold in my opinion with all that value stored in him. Now finally go on to the forward department, and this is where the sadness starts. Going to start off with Erling Haaland. Yes, the triple captain, 6 points currently, only 2 points, triple to 6, and I really need him to perform against that Spurs side. Now Willie, who kind of knows, but at the end of the day, I went for the triple captain, and I have to take what I get. Let me know in the comments down below what's your prediction for Erling Haaland against Spurs. I'm going for 2 goals. Yes, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think 2 goals is manageable for probably the best striker in the Prem. Now, talking about best striker in the Prem, Harry Kane wants to have a word. Unfortunately, he didn't do it in the North London derby, but against Man City away, he could actually get a goal. And as long as Ake doesn't start, Harry Kane can have a field day. Now, these 2 strikers really need to kind of pay their value because they're the most expensive strikers in the game, and they simply haven't gotten me the points in Game Week 20. So let's just hope that these double Game Week options return for us tonight's game, tomorrow's game. Hopefully when I talk to you guys in the deadline stream, I'm looking at a green arrow. But as I said earlier on, let me know in the comments down below how you guys got on. Was it a green arrow? Was it a red? And how are your double Game Week options going? Now, before we talk about the Game Week 21 team, I want to yet again reiterate what I'm talking about with my transfer plan. So yes, I will be hopefully banking a transfer for the upcoming Game Week 21. The reason for that, I mentioned this continuously, between Game Week 21, between Game Week 22, do have the FA Cup and the League Cup games, which will give us some clarity on the upcoming blank game weeks. We have had some double game weeks confirmed, but that hasn't changed my mind. And unless we do get some clarity about the blanks and the doubles coming up, I'm probably going to stick with the team I currently have. Now, obviously, if you guys do have some serious problems to sort out, a major injury, that sort of thing, you can do a transfer, but I would heavily advise you guys to actually bank it. But now let's go on to the Game Week 21 team selection, and as I usually do, I give you guys the context, but with the banking of a transfer, this is actually going to be the team selection going to the deadline. Now, I would recommend that you guys do watch the deadline stream if you want to get the most up-to-date team, because there will be press conferences coming up tomorrow and also on Friday. So starting off bottom right-hand side, we will be banking a transfer and 0.4 in the bank, and even with that money in the bank, can't really make a big upgrade. Now I'm going to start off on my bench, and the bench dilemma kind of gives you an insight into the starting 11. I've got Danny Ward and Ben White on my bench. So now what you're probably saying, am I benching Ben White for the 3rd game week in a row where he will get his points on the bench? Yes, I am. And I'll explain my decision when I talk about Luke Shaw. Now in terms of Danny Ward, I could go for Danny Ward, going to bring in Kepa right now because you guys can see the fixture, Liverpool away versus Brighton at home. Now I personally just think that the Chelsea defense is slightly better than the Leicester defense. That's why I'm going for Kepa against Liverpool, and at least I hope that he gets us the save points if he loses the clean sheet. In terms of Leicester's defense, I've completely lost faith in them. Don't really think they can keep a clean sheet, and that Brighton side is red hot. Then completing our bench, we have Greenwood and Patterson, both who probably won't play. Greenwood may be a 1-point appearance. Now heading into our backline department, we've got Nathan Ake, and I mean Ben White probably will come off for Nathan Ake anyways, now that John Stones and Ruben Diaz are back in training. Now yes, there's a chance that Ake does actually feature. I really want him to. Wolves at home is a great fixture on paper, so let's hold thumbs that he actually does start. Now we go on to the dilemma here. We got Luke Shaw against Arsenal, so Arsenal taking on United is a home game for Arsenal at the forefront, but I just feel like Luke Shaw at left back might be the better selection. Now if Luke Shaw had started centre back, I would prefer Ben White to be honest, but I just feel like Shaw might give us some more attacking threat if he does start at fullback. Add to that, we also have the last 6 game weeks. United have been defending pretty well, even though they have faced some top opposition. Now the final defender to go for, no complaints here, Kieran Trippier, Crystal Palace away. Good enough fixture on paper, but in Trippier is keeping a clean sheet against simply everyone and even racking up those bonus points. Now heading into midfield department, going to start off with Kevin De Bruyne. Nice to see that he will be back hopefully for that Spurs game. No questions about the Wolves game on the weekend. Enough kind of a rest time between them, and this is a lovely fixture on paper at home. We then have the United double up of Rashford and Antony. Now with Antony, I have some speculation about a potential benching here. There are a few other options in that right wing and left wing slot that might offer some rotation for Antony, but it's hope that he does play against Arsenal. Now added to that, we do have that threat of maybe a different formation like Man City. They could play Fred in the midfield department, therefore shifting up Eriksen and maybe dropping Antony. But who kind of knows, even if he does start, Arsenal's a super tough game on paper, but United are playing pretty well. That's why I'm still confident in Rashford. He's in great form at the current moment. If they do play counter-attacking football, that's going to play into Rashford's hands. Next up, we have Mason Mount. Liverpool away is a tough game on paper, not from an attacking point of view. Actually, I think this might be one of the best games for Chelsea at the moment, as Liverpool simply can't defend. Now, with the new signing of Mudryk, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not, but with the new signing, maybe Mason Mount drops out of the squad as he hasn't been the best performer. But let's just say, if we do get news of a potential benching, I probably will sell Mason Mount, but for who is going to be a question. Next up, we have Martinelli, and you guys can see why. Got a lot of United vs Arsenal players in my squad, which usually doesn't lead to too many points. But Martinelli in bad form anyways. United's a tough game, but at least it is a home fixture. Then finally go into our forward department, going to slap the captaincy on Erling Haaland right now. Yes, I probably will be going for the captaincy on him. The only other captaincy dilemma I might have is him or Harry Kane. Going to show Harry Kane there, lovely Fulham away fixture on paper. But I just feel like Haaland, if he's going to be starting for Man City, you got to go for the captaincy. But what I will say is a Hattie against Spurs tomorrow might sweeten this kind of captaincy. Let's hope that he does well tomorrow. But then kind of touching on Harry Kane quickly, Fulham away is a great fixture on paper. Yes, Fulham have been playing better at the current moment, but Spurs are also kind of looking to ramp it up, and Harry Kane's been super consistent. So as you guys can see on paper though, the starting 11 doesn't look too great. We have some benching dilemmas here. Kepa versus Ward, Shaw versus White. Who are you guys playing between those combinations, as you guys probably own them as well? But in terms of the transfer, I'm super keen on actually banking it this week, so probably won't use it unless we do get news that Mason Mount's going to be benched. But this is basically all for today, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll see you guys for the deadline stream coming up on Saturday afternoon. Make sure that you guys are there to get the most up-to-date team as possible. But I'm yourselves, Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.